Good day, Brittle Planet Faithful. This is Eric Peterson in Salt Lake City, and today I'm joined by the frontman of Civil War, Mr. Kelly Carpenter. How are you doing today, Kelly?
Doing great.
Good.
Hi, everybody.
Where are you joining us from today?
I live in Belgium, actually.
Oh, do you really? Wow.
Yeah.
And that's quite the collection you got behind us.
Yeah, we have our beers and our libations, whiskeys,
Nice.
all the good stuff. Belgium makes the best beer in the world, in my opinion. So, that's one of the great resources of the area.
How are things over there?
Everything's cool. Yeah, it's summertime, and so it's between rain and who knows what. Belgium has funny weather. It's kind of like the UK a little bit. Yeah.
So let's dive right into the new Civil War album called Invaders, coming out on June 17th this year. Straight out of the gate, I'm just going to say I love Heart of Darkness. One of my favorite songs is the Joseph Conrad novel was always one of my favorites growing up. What was the inspiration behind doing something like that?
Well, it started out as it was going to be sort of a more toward the Apocalypse Now version of it, but I turned it back toward the book because I like that. It was just darker for me, and I really like that song a lot too because it has a lot of atmosphere and a lot of creepy imagery, and so that was a fun one to do. I like the way that turned out.
I like it. I think I like it because having read the novel, and it was a creepy novel to begin with, and then you guys lyrically just made it even creepier, which was cool.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I spent most of the pandemic writing the lyrics, actually. So I got into that, and all the history stuff, and the other one, Slaughterhouse 5, I like as well because it's very weird and atmospheric again.
Yeah.
So
that was another one I was going to mention too. Is that having being familiar with that, it's just what you guys did with it was brilliant, and the choir in it mixed in with this into the song and the keyboards. I mean, that's one of my favorite albums on the song.
Oh yeah, thank you. Yeah, that one I remember they said, "Hey man, let's do something about Slaughterhouse 5," and I thought, wow, how in the hell are we going to do this? Because it's such a strange book. There's alien abduction, and it's so weird. But it's mostly about post-traumatic stress disorder in a way, and about seeing the horrors of war and all of that, and what that does to the mind, and then we watched the movie and we read the book, and it finally kind of came together. But I was at a loss at first of how to tackle that one.
Yeah, because you're right, though. I mean, with everything that goes on in the book, it could have been a really far out there song, but you guys reeled it in and kept it very focused, which turned out very nice.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. There's so many topics that you guys dive into on the album. Is there any of the stories that were your favorite to tell?
One that really was emotional for me was Andersonville. Mm-hmm. Because I got into researching, the terrible, inhumane conditions of that Confederate prisoner of war camp, and then I got in and I found letters that some of the prisoners had written home to their wives. And back in those days, people were very literate and very eloquent. And I was really carried away by that. They had so much dignity, strength, and that really captured my mind. And then I took it one step further and made it worse by including the idea about the deadline that was inside the camp, where if you touch the small fence inside, the rebel soldiers would shoot you on spot.
Yeah.
So that one was really that one touched me quite a lot, and the whole album, a lot of it is about basically the terrible cost of greed and war, and it really focuses more on the people who stood up against those conquering invaders to try to defend their families, their loved ones, and their way of life. So that's a big thread running through the album as well. And then
Yeah.
we take other little tangents, you know.
Yeah, Custer's Last Stand is a perfect example of that, you know. I mean, that song is
Yeah, we did that. We did a re-recording of that because the guys had they wanted to do that. They thought not enough people had heard that.
yeah.
We did that song a couple of times live, and we liked it. So they said, "Oh, well, let's just do it." It's 10 years later, so it's the 10-year anniversary of that and the EP, I believe.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
so we did that and just redid it, and it kind of went along with some of the Native American stuff that we have, themed stuff that we have on the album. So
Yeah.
it was great for a bonus.
Yeah. No, I mean, just with your voice on there, you know, it really added to it. And it, you know, after hearing you through the other songs, it really made it a nice compliment to have that song. But I didn't realize it had been 10 years because it doesn't seem like it's been that long, but I guess it has.
Yeah.
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 So as far as the other guys, who contributed the most as far as the writing process to the songs? Was it all of you combined, or just did you?
Basically, Petrus comes up with a lot of the ideas, maybe the lion's share of the musical ideas, and Daniel comes with a lot of ideas too. And basically, what I do is I sometimes we'll have a piece of a melody, like Petrus will come with a piece of a melody, or maybe an idea of maybe what the song might be like, or Daniel would come up with an idea or a little bit of a melody, and I will take that and I'll write kind of a lot of things around that, or I'll just come with my own melody. So it's kind of like all of a share kind of writing thing. I did most of the lyrics. I wouldn't say it's like 100% all of the words that I wrote everything, because sometimes there are little phrases here or there that Petrus comes with or Daniel will come with, and then those will be the seed for an idea that takes the song off in that direction. But it's mainly us three writing stuff, and I think one of the reasons it took so long to get this album done was, you know, the pandemic hit, and I've kind of gotten tired of sending files through the internet and not seeing anybody's face. But we just had to kind of deal with that, But for the most part, we just kind of took our time to make sure we did something that we can say, "Hey, here it is. We like it. We think it's good. Hope you do too." You know?
Yeah. No, it's great. I'm just curious if there's anything. I mean, I know you guys focus on some of this one. You kind of focused on Invaders. Are there subjects that didn't make it on the album that you find particularly interesting that you would like to someday write about?
Not in particular, because the way I normally, I mean, at least when you're talking about my part, I usually get inspired by music, and then the melody will arrive. You know, I'll listen many times to the music and see if a melody comes, and then I'll write once I have a bit of a melody there.
Okay.
But I mean, the one thing that I can tell everybody is that it's not always going to be about war.
Yeah.
It's not always going to be about the Civil War either. It's going to be whatever we find interesting.
Yeah.
And it's probably going to have a little bit of war stuff in that, because it's a great metaphor for a lot of things in life. So we just do it organically, and we try to write about things that we think are interesting.
Yeah. No, I think that's great. And, you know, it doesn't always have to be about war. And I mean, that's why I kind of like The Heart of Darkness is not necessarily about war. It's, I mean, obviously the Apocalypse Now version of the Heart of Darkness was, but it's more about an exploration into the depths of the mind, you know, and that's a cool thing about The Heart of Darkness. And that's why I love that song so much.
Yeah, for me, I mean, that's in all my other previous work, I normally write about those existential type things or inner universe things, your own personal demons, things that are more emotional and
Yeah,
kind of non-specific.
yeah,
So it was kind of a challenge for me to get into, doing something about a historical event. But I found that if I took it and I tried to make it a little bit more personal and to try to put the listener into the song and have them kind of live out that experience, I found that that was kind of a nice way of getting into it.
yeah, yeah,
So I could enjoy it too, because it's
yeah.
more of an emotional experience rather than quoting off dates and
Yep.
reading from a book or something.
Yeah, yeah. And I was going to ask you, so you guys recruited Toby England for the band.
Yeah,
Um, what has he added to the band since joining, other than being a really good cook?
yeah, yeah. He is a good cook, isn't he?
Isn't he? He
Yeah,
is.
he can barbecue. That guy
Yeah,
can
he
really
can.
cook. Yeah, yeah. Well, Silva came in kind of at the 11th hour on the album this time, and so he added some solos, and he did the spoken word part for Invaders
Mhm.
song there, and we may see some writing and stuff from him later. But right now, what I know that he adds is a good spirit, another nice person in the band that's funny and easygoing, and he's got a great presence. If he's barbecuing or if he's on stage. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, he's great to have.
So I'm going to admit to you that I messaged Toby to see if he could get me some dirt on you, but it was last minute, so I didn't hear back from him. But
Yeah,
but
dirt.
since he didn't, I would like to see if you have anything that I can throw out at him next month when I see him in Fallen.
Yeah. I told him that I would do this, and now it's coming true. Mm. Tobe is not a strong drinker.
That's true.
Unlike me and some of the other guys in the band, he's kind of a teetotaler. That's the dirt on Tobe, because we went over there, we had a barbecue, and we drank a few beers, and he kind of sailed away. So, but I mean, I think that's the only dirt I have on him.
No,
So
that's
if you
good.
see him at a festival, if he's walking around, buy him the strongest drink that you can, and just to test him, just to see what he can handle.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good
Yeah,
idea. That's a good idea.
yeah.
Yeah.
Buy Toba drinks, everybody. Buy him a beer.
Yes, when you see Toby, make sure and buy him a beer.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you too. So summer plans for the summer for Civil War. Do you guys have any festival plans?
Well, right now, since some of the other things got canceled, so many things got canceled. The one that's holding on, which I think it's totally fine now, is Masters of Rock in Czech Republic with
Okay.
Judas Priest and all these great bands. It's going to be a shock to play live again. We haven't played in like 2 years together, but it's going to be really an amazing fest to play at. So we're looking forward to that. That's like in July.
When was the last time you played live?
The last time that I played live, I mean, it would be with the guys. I think we did the Sabaton cruise or something.
Oh, okay.
I think that's the last time we really played a show together.
Nice. Well, that's been a while, so it's going to be a lot of dusting off the old pipes and getting ready, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
And then, do you guys have any plans for a proper tour to promote the album, or are you working on that?
That'll come later as things start to open up. Yeah. Napalm's really good at getting us shows and tours that take care of it really well. So I'm sure they'll have something in the line for us sometime soon.
Yeah,
maybe later in the year.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, since you have a very distinct voice and a vocal sound and a style, what were your influences growing up, and who really influenced you to pursue your path in a singing career?
I started off listening to the Beatles when I was a kid, and I would just it was kind of like my job to listen to the Beatles when I for about a year or two. I would wake up, I would listen to the Beatles. My dad's great big analog stereo, beautiful stereo,
Yeah,
and I would listen to the Beatles' early years and a little bit later years stuff. And then I would go to school. I'd come back. I would listen to the Beatles, and then I would eat something. I would listen to the Beatles again, and then I'd watch some TV and go to bed. So they kind of taught me all about how melody works, and I like the way they put these simple parts together to make a huge kind of sound.
yeah.
So that taught me a lot about music. And then I got when I was a little kid, I really loved Linda Ronstadt.
Oh, yeah.
Such a wailer and beautiful voice. I really loved that. And then I got, and then later I got into, yeah, like bands like the Police and stuff. And then I loved Journey. That's one of my. I love Steve Perry.
Yeah,
He's also influenced by another guy that I love is Sam Cooke. I love Sam Cooke.
yeah.
And so that was a foundation of stuff that was before metal. And then I had a buddy of mine. We were going up to a music store to go check out some music equipment that we couldn't afford, you know. But we drove for an hour up to this big music store, and he popped in this cassette tape of Operation Mindcrime. And I just couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe it, what I was hearing. And by the end of the trip, we listened to that several times on the way back. And at the end of the trip, I basically stole my buddy's tape. I said, "You just have to give this to me." He was like, "No, but it's my tape." And I was just like, "Give it to me." So I ran in the house and I just started practicing to that in the car, you know, at volume, you know, at max volume. But probably my biggest influence, my biggest hero is Ronnie James Dio. He was somebody that I listened to when I was a kid, when I was living in a neighborhood where I kind of was the oddball, the odd man out there. And so I just stay in my room, draw, and listen to Ronnie. He was kind of my buddy, you know, that a father figure in a way, and a friend that I didn't know. But yeah, he's my number one guy. Yeah. And so I think that, you know, the ultimate hero is Ronnie. But the reason that I got into it and I started singing seriously was Operation Mindcrime, Jeff Tate.
Yeah, that's I mean, one of my top 5 favorite albums is Operation Mindcrime.
It's a masterpiece. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
And you know, it's funny you mentioned Ronnie James Dio kind of being your buddy. I mean, I didn't get a chance to meet him, but everything I've read about him and seen about him, he was such a friendly guy that he could be anybody's buddy.
Yeah, he's such a sweet guy. Yeah. Yeah, here's my. Yeah, I got to meet him.
Nice. Yeah.
And he was so kind and so generous with his time, and so respectful. And I really wish I would have been able to do anything more than just stammer and look like an idiot, because I just couldn't believe that I was meeting him. You know, he was like, "Oh yeah, it's still Kelly," and you know, I was just like, "You're right, yeah, holy shit," you know. But he was so cool. Yeah.
That's interesting. I mean, I can see the similarities between you and Jeff Tate. You know, the style vocally, and somebody that would inspire you to get where you've gone. So.
Yeah, I was into Jeff Tate, and then I loved Fate's Warning. That's a big influence too. Ray Alder, my favorite, and then I realized that I couldn't sing along to Dio because I had only a clear voice.
Yeah.
So I started right about then. Skid Row came out, and I started practicing the Skid Row, and so I learned to put that that rasp and that kind of a distortion on my voice,
Yeah.
and so now I can just kind of click it on and off like an effect, and
Nice.
so it's kind of a good way to start. Instead of starting with the rasp, start clean and then put the effect on there.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was doing that and Slave to the Grind, which is super extreme, high raspy stuff. So then after I got those tools, then I could sing Ronnie, better.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, that's funny. That's another one of my top 5 favorite albums was Slave to the Grind. I love that album.
Yeah, it's monster, great rock. Yeah,
Yeah.
good rock. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, you've already mentioned 2 of my top 5. So,
Cool. Yeah.
yeah.
Good stuff is good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I appreciate your time, Kelly. And I just want to encourage everybody to go pick up the new Civil War album and don't just stream it. Just go get it, order a copy. You can order a copy and get a copy of it because it's great. And for me personally, since I've already heard it, I got a copy of the lyrics too, which to me is important to me because I love just sitting and reading the lyrics because I think you get more out of reading them while you're listening to it than just listening to it.
Cool. I'm glad. I kind of tortured myself over those, and I hope they turned out well.
No, they did. And like I said, I love it because I can follow along. And to me, it kind of creates that picture of what you were kind of explaining what you wanted by reading along to it rather than just listening to it.
Yeah, right. It's more of a cinematic kind of experience instead of just an auditory one. Yeah.
Exactly. So thank you for your time, and everybody go pick up the new album on the 17th when it comes out.
Right on.
All right. Thanks, Kelly.